Hey guys, today before we get into our iReady lesson, I wanted to go over a couple of things. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the distributive property. And I hope you guys got to this last year, but the distributive property is where we take a number that sits out in front of parentheses and we basically share it to both terms. Okay? And so the terms that we have here, let me change colors, the terms are 3 and positive 4x. So that's positive 3, positive 4x. In the second one, we have positive 2x and then a negative 2. That's a term, and that's a term. 3 and 4x. We've got, in the third one, we've got 3x and we've got a negative 4. That's the other term. Here we've got 7 and here we've got 2x. So sometimes it helps with the distributive property to realize what you have. And so now when we distribute, say we're going to take the 2, we're going to distribute, we're going to go 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And 2 times positive 4x is going to be positive 8x. And that's how you distribute. Number 2, 3 times 2x is going to be 6x. 3 times negative 2 is going to be negative 6. On number 3, we're going to take negative 3, and we're going to distribute that. So negative 3 times 3x is going to be negative 9x. Negative 3 times negative 4, negative times a negative is positive. It's going to be positive 12. And 4, we're going to take this negative 7. Negative 7 times positive 7 is negative 49. And negative 7 times 2x is going to be negative 14x. So there's the distributive property in a nutshell, a real quick review. Hopefully it's something that you've seen before. I'm going to erase this and show you where the distributive property comes from, because it's a nice little shortcut for us. But let's talk about where it comes from. Let's say I have, for example, 2 times 2x minus 1. Let's say that that's what I have. Well, what we're saying here is we're going to say take 2 times this whole thing. Well, 2 times that whole thing is going to be that doubled, right? Times 2 means we double it. So that would be 2x minus 1 plus 2x minus 1. And 2x plus 2x is 4x. And a negative 1 plus a negative 1 is negative 2. So we would have gotten 4x minus 2. So let's distribute. 2 times 2x is 4x. And 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. So you can see we get the same answer. And so this is a shortcut. Now imagine how much time that would save you if we did it this long way here when it's negative 7. You would have to take this 7 times, right? A negative 7 times. So instead of doing this 7 times, writing 7 plus 2x, 7 plus 2x, plus 7 plus 2x, plus 7 plus 2x, plus 7 plus 2x, plus 7 plus 2x, and keep going, instead of doing all that, we can simply just do the distributive property. Okay? Let's take a look at something else that we need to talk about before we start the lesson. The other thing that's going to pop up in this lesson is something we call the GCF. And that stands for the greatest common factor. And so greatest means the biggest, right? Common means the shared. And factor means parts of multiplication. Alright, make it fit there. So, if we need to find the greatest common factor, there's a couple ways to do this. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do it, and then I'm going to show you probably the easiest way that I've ever found, and hopefully you like that. So, let's start out with the longest way. So, let's say we had to find the greatest common factor of 12 and 36. Okay? And so the way that I was taught this when I was a kid was something called using prime factorization. And so prime factorization, you're going to go 2 times 6. What prime factor can you multiply to get 6? 2 and 3. And so the prime factorization of 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. And then we're going to do 36. So let's say I do 12 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 3. And so we've got 2 times 2 times 3. And then over here for 36, we've got 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And maybe you guys did this last year. So we're looking at the biggest part that's shared. So we have a set of 2's. We have another set of 2's, and we have a set of 3's. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12. So the greatest common factor between 12 and 36 is 12. So that's one way to do it. I think it's a very long way to do it, and I'm going to show you a short way to do it. Alright, so we're going to use this birthday cake method, and because it looks like an upside down birthday cake when you're done, but basically you're just going to make a layer like that, and then you want to look at 12 and 36 and say, what is a number that goes into 12 and 36? The bigger number that you come up with, the shorter time it's going to take you to get to the greatest common factor. But let's say that you only can tell that they're even, so let's say you just say 2. 2 goes into 12 6 times. 2 goes into 36 18 times. Now from here, you've got 6 and 18. So if you were able to identify that 6 goes into both of them, you could do it really quick and be done. But let's just say you can't figure it out. You don't know the bigger number, so let's just say, oh, I know 2 goes into both of them. So then you would say 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 2 goes into 18 9 times. Now what about 3 and 9? Is there something that goes into 3 and 9? Well, 3 goes into both of them. So then you would go 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. So now, when you finally get to a point where there's nothing shared between here, all you do is multiply these. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. The greatest common factor is 12. This is called the birthday cake method. Let's try another one. This time, let's find the greatest common factor of 12 and 30. So 12 and 30 would be, well, you're looking at this, let's say that you identify that, I don't know, let's say, I mean, if you did 6, it would go really fast, right? Because you could go 6 goes into 12 twice, 6 goes into 35 times, nothing is shared, the greatest common factor is 6. Okay? But let's say you couldn't think of 6. And I think this is why the birthday cake method works so well. Let's say you could only identify that 2 goes into them. 2 goes into 12 6 times, 2 goes into 30 15 times. What goes into 6 and 15? 3 does. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Is there anything that goes into 2 and 5? Nope. So then you would do 2 times 3. The greatest common factor is 6. Alright, let's try one more. So let's use the birthday cake method to find the greatest common factor of 24 and 40. So let's just start out real easy. Let's say you can identify that 2 goes into both of them. That's going to be 12. 2 goes into 24. 2 goes into 24 12 times. 2 goes into 40 20 times. Make another layer on the birthday cake. 12 and 20, let's go 2 again. 2 goes into 12 6 times. And 2 goes into 20 10 times. Another layer on the birthday cake. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. Is there anything that's shared between 3 and 5? The answer is no. So our answer is right here. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So the greatest common factor is 8. Now the birthday cake method is actually useful for a lot of stuff. You can find the greatest common factor. You can use it to find the least common multiple. You can also use it to reduce fractions. So get used to this birthday cake method. We'll try and come back to it a couple times this year. But that's how you use it to find the greatest common factor. And what I would like you to do now is go ahead and go on to Big Ideas Math. Do not go down your pathway. You should have a teacher-assigned lesson that's talking about the distributive property. There is no homework for tonight. The lesson should take you about 20 minutes. Good luck, guys.